100% crit chance, infinite ammo, practically immune to shooters, and hitting like a truck with each shot. This build is probably one of the more ridiculous combinations of weapons, blessings, and talents that I've put together in a while. And today, I'm going to show you how it all comes together. So let's get it on. Let's dive into the weapon selection right away. The centerpiece of this build is the Cantrell Mark 10 Heavy Laspistol. This is a weapon I didn't really pay attention to until recently when I started feeling more experimental. So, as a little bit of a bonus for this video, I'll do a mini review here to get you acquainted with the weapon if you aren't already. Taking a look at its damage profile, you'll notice that it's a bit of an interesting weapon. It has an unusually high critical damage multiplier relative to its weak spot. Normally, weapons tend to have the same multipliers for both weak spot hits and critical hits, but the Mark 10 and the smaller Akatrank Mark 2 appears to be one of the rare exceptions to this. While the gun has an average of about 2.2 times weak spot multiplier, which is really high already, it has a substantially higher critical multiplier average of about 2.9, making critical hits worth a great deal more and making critical headshots very devastating. One of the benefits of having such a high critical damage multiplier is that this weapon isn't really hindered by enemies like maulers and plasma gunners which have carapace armor on their head. In fact, body shots end up being very damaging in their own right, typically allowing you to easily 2 or 3 shot with ease. This weapon also has a noteworthy flak damage, a rare instance where hitting flak actually deals more damage than hitting unarmored. How does that work? Also, interestingly, outside of carapace armor, it's actually relatively weak against infested armor types, making dealing with poxhounds a surprising chore compared to the other specials. As for additional stats, the Cantrell has a nice 27 shots worth of ammo in the mag with 6 mags to spare. With the build we're about to cover, ammo isn't really going to be a problem. In fact, you'd have to be really trying to burn through your ammo. The weapon also has a slow and stable fire rate of 2.63 shots per second compared to the Akatrank's 4.44 per second. It also has a nice +4 stamina bonus and a rather lengthy reload of 3 seconds. Finally, it has a 15% base critical chance compared to the usual 5% for most weapons. This higher built-in crit synergizes well with the weapon's strength of scoring critical hits on enemies. One thing to note about the Laspistol is that it has a rather short fall-off range. After about 15 meters or 16 meters or so, you'll start seeing your damage numbers drop. This weapon is very much designed for close to medium distance engagements. Alright, so with some base knowledge in hand, let's take a look at how we are building this. For perks, we're going to want both flak and maniac damage. The addition of flak is going to really push our damage overboard against this class of enemies, allowing you to mow down shooters and gunners with ease, and also bully maulers and plasma gunners with body shots. Maniac damage is to deal with specials like flamers and to quickly gun down priority threats like ragers and mutants. As for blessings, we're going to go with Desperado and Ghost. I know, if you've been keeping up with my last couple of videos, you're seeing the Ghost blessing make an appearance a lot. And why wouldn't it? It's such a powerful blessing that helps you level the odds against the annoyance that are ranged enemies. But in this build, it's an extremely important component that helps complete the loop, which I'll explain more in the how it all comes together section. Desperado is an excellent node to take because it gives us a strong critical chance buff that activates on dodging any attack, including range attacks avoided from ghosts. More on this in a bit. For our melee weapon, what you are going to want is something that is an all-rounder weapon, something that can deal decently with groups of enemies and can handle armor alright. I have chosen to play with the Power Falchion mainly because it's on theme with my Commissar look, but it also has more mobility than the Power Sword, which I prefer. You can also use other weapons like the Power Sword itself or even a dueling sword if you wish. My Power Falchion is built with carapace and elite damage for dealing with crushers as best as it can. Most everything else can be gunned down by the Laspistol. I've also got cranial grounding to improve its uptime and weak spot damage, as well as wrath to give me a bit more horde clearing power when I have to draw my melee against them. For curios, I'm running a different setup from the usual, but one that has served me well in combination with the build. I am running a 1 stamina, 1 toughness and 1 health combo for versatility, and our build is going to be stamina dependent on performing. On that note, for perks I'm running 3 combat regen, 3 stamina regen and 2 revive speed and a singular gunner resistance. Now, with our knowledge of the Laspistol and loadouts ready, let's move on to the talent selection, shall we? Here is the whole talent tree. Mechanically speaking, this build has many cross interactions and synergies that I've learned from my previous build, so you'll be seeing some of that in here as well. I have found Exhilarating Takedown to be such a crucial node for the level of aggression we'll want to play with this build. The additional toughness regen and damage resistance it provides is like having two talents baked into one. Absolutely take this. This build will also be using crack grenades as our primary armor problem solving. I have also learned since that my knowledge of breakpoints was a little outdated and that now you only need Grenade Tinkerer to reach the Havoc 40 Crusher breakpoint, so we'll pick that up as well. Withering Fire is great with the Laspistol because it lets you pierce through an additional Poxwalker or shooter, allowing you to gun down more dangerous targets like shotgunners and specials through a horde, which makes you a much more effective killing machine. Opening Salvo provides a small buffer margin of boosting our crit chance up by a decent amount. If you run this build effectively, this will almost always be up and available. We'll also be taking Voice of Command and Duty and Honor as our combat ability. This is the most Commissar-like ability to have, so we'll use it for the Go Toughness and space creating capabilities. Now, this is where things start to get more interesting. We'll be taking Deadshot for the added 25% crit chance while aiming down sights. This is a very rare talent node to pick up because its stamina cost can be very taxing. However, the combination of the Laspistol's innately high stamina and our stamina curios will help give us a big enough stamina buffer that we can actually make use of it. On the other side, we're picking up both Reciprocity for the critical chance on dodge, as well as Duck and Dive for the additional stamina regeneration upon dodging ranged attacks. Both these talents will further supplement our critical chance and give us the active stamina regeneration to maintain Deadshot. Coming back down to the left side of the tree, we're taking Shock Trooper since we have such a high critical rate that we can very practically have infinite ammo, or at least never really needing to pick up much or any ammo throughout your mission. Lastly, our keystone will be Marksman's Focus, primarily because it gives us a lot of finesse damage which ramps up our critical multiplier, and Tunnel Vision for the improved toughness replenishment and the 10% stamina restore on weak spot kills, which we will be doing a lot of. As you can probably piece together already from the choices of blessings and talents, this build has a feedback loop similar to my Cadian Lasgun Veteran build. For starters, if we did nothing but shoot our Laspistol as is, we'll be working with a 35% critical chance. 10% from the Veteran, 15% from the Laspistol, and 10% from Opening Salvo as long as we're above about 65 units of ammo in your mag. If you aim down sights, you gain another 25% critical chance from Deadshot being active for a total of 60% crit. The incremental critical chance means that you're more likely to trigger Shock Trooper, which causes you to not consume ammo in the mag, which then extends Opening Salvo's buffer for longer. The more crit you get, the longer you maintain Opening Salvo's uptime. That was the base stage of the weapon. The next stage comes the moment you dodge any attack. Doing so activates Desperado on your Laspistol and also triggers Reciprocity to build one stack, giving you an additional combined critical chance of 25%. This now puts your total up to 85% critical chance. Dodging any more attacks will keep building up Reciprocity stacks, which will then cause you to reach the 100% critical chance threshold. At this point, your ammo consumption drops to 0 as every shot will activate Shock Trooper, allowing you to keep Opening Salvo up for as long as you can maintain the 100% critical chance. Having a guaranteed crit means fully taking advantage of Marksman's Focus Finesse Multiplier, skyrocketing your damage with every shot. This alone will make it an incredible build, but there are 2 points of weakness right now. The first is running out of stamina. Without stamina, Deadshot no longer provides you with that crucial 25% critical chance, and your accuracy over longer ranges is going to suffer as you lose its sway reduction. So, to maintain our stamina upkeep for Deadshot, we've got Duck and Dive to give us a burst of stamina whenever we dodge range attacks, as well as Tunnel Vision providing 10% stamina for every weak spot kill that we make. The second point of weakness here is the dependency on dodging. We've only got so many dodges to work with before we run out and have to wait for them to recharge. This is where the Ghost Blessing comes in to close the loop. Because you'll want to hit headshots anyway to take advantage of Exhilarating Takedown and Marksman's bonus damage, Ghost enables you to automatically dodge all range fire without actually needing to dodge. This counts for activating Desperado, Reciprocity, and Duck and Dive without ever needing to spend an actual dodge charge unless you want to create more buffer space. So, just by landing headshots while battling against groups of shooters and gunners, you can maintain your critical chance uptime and stamina cost for Deadshot by using Ghost as the bridge that connects the whole engine together. Now, you might be wondering if taking Ghost is really that much better over something with more offensive power like Infernus for the burn damage, which synergizes perfectly well with the build, or Dum Dum for the damage boost. I personally feel that having Ghost to connect everything together feels so much nicer than without. It means I can keep my dodges for avoiding the really threatening attacks like overheads and backstabs without having to spend anything against ranged enemies as long as I'm landing weak spot hits on anything. Take this example here. I'm literally on the brink of going down and there are a bunch of enemies that just appeared out from the door. A Reaper is now gunning me in my face and there's very little space to dodge out of the way. So instead of trying to panic dodge, I just shoot him in the face to trigger Ghost, which makes me immune to his gunfire, and gun it down where I stand. There have been so many situations where I would have been shot to bits if it weren't for Ghost. Overall, this build was a wonderful exercise in build crafting where I'm able to weave together elements across our weapons, blessings and talents to make something that was really cohesive and practical. I hope you give this version of the build a go. I certainly enjoyed putting it through its paces, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Varlets.
from hell.